is saying these are our messages. This is what we're going out with. It doesn't matter how many millions you spend in ad spend. It doesn't matter how good your ground game is, because when you're door knocking, you have to still defend the policies of the campaign. And if those policies do not address the material harm that people are experiencing, they're going to go, you didn't convince me. Okay? Coping and seething and coping. Okay, dude. Yeah, I'm coping and seething for routinely fucking screaming bloody murder about how absolutely stupid the messaging was from the top of the ticket.
And I like that he didn't actually plan to ban abortion. He just brought it back to the States.
ASU tells MSNBC she voted for Trump because she likes that he doesn't plan to ban abortion. Anyway. Good news is that Biden seems to have some really great lame duck priorities. The Biden administration is planning to rush the last of over $6 billion remaining in Ukraine security assistance out the door by Inauguration Day. And I'm going to tell you something right now. That's a must-pass bill, okay? And it will most likely pass. That is going to potentially have, according to Chuck Schumer, if Chuck Schumer is actually going to follow through on this, a bill that slaps on anti-Semitism as a hate crime for criticisms of Israel. A conflation of the criticisms of Israel as anti-Semitism into that bill. Chuck Schumer said that. He was going to do that in the lame duck and slap it onto a must-pass bill. Prison arc for Hasan, baby. Let's go. Thank fuck. We really needed that. Netanyahu and Trump talked about the Iranian threat breaking Israeli Prime Minister office. Netanyahu spoke to President-elect Donald Trump and was among the first to call to congratulate him for his victory. The conversation was warm and cordial, and the two agreed to work together for Israel's security and discuss the Iranian threat. We should also be mad at what you have said, the DC Beltway analyst focus group hacks that do shit like muzzle wallets and tell Harris not to say we're not going back because it didn't test amazing. These people are the ones that made her sound like a robot, and why there's no passion in Democrats. People hate it. Yeah, but Kamala Harris was a blank slate. Okay? What you write on that blank slate matters. She was given a wipeout. Okay? It's so stupid. A lot of people will point to, 44% of the American voters thought that Kamala Harris was too liberal. Yes, dude, they do. It doesn't fucking matter. You want to know why it doesn't matter? Because she's a black woman from California. Of course they're saying that, despite the fact that she kept reiterating her commitment to being as right-wing as physically possible. So at a certain point, you have to understand, like, they're going to call you a socialist or too liberal anyway. Her most successful policy was combating prices at the grocery store by effectively communicating that she was going after price gougers. That was literally her most successful policy. That is radical socialism. And the Republicans kept saying, that's radical socialism. That's Venezuela. That's Venezuela. That's Venezuela. That shit was polling after all the fucking combating, after all the fucking attacks launched against it at a higher percentage. It was polling at 83%. 83%. Americans hate Obamacare, but love the Affordable Care Act. They hate Obamacare, but love the fact that 26-year-olds can stay under their parents' health care. Love the fact that insurance companies cannot deny you coverage for pre-existing conditions. Stop focusing on top-line idiotic nonsense. Dive beyond the polls or the messaging data that the media is trying to represent to you to make it seem like America is far more reactionary than it actually is. I cannot comprehend how we look at this massive
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing.
to meet at the White House in the near future. Yeah, he's going to hug and kiss him. And also, Kamala Harris's speech is going to be live in 15 minutes, her concession speech. Overall, exit poll show, by the way, Kamala Harris literally lost white women again. Or wait. Yeah, across the board, 54% of women voted for Kamala Harris. Where are the white women? Let's see. 55% went to Trump again.
Check and see if we can hear me. But yeah, this guy, Hasan Piker, calls it like it is.
FDR made a settlement for the working class as he ran, as he was an elite that drew his power from outside the market. Those elites don't exist anymore, and the logic of the market is always to capitulate to capitalism. I don't think social democratic settlement will occur, considering there is no communist counter-hegemon. Chinese are neolibs now. I agree. That, I think, is a dire ideological prospect. Nationally, just over half of men supported Trump and just over half of women supported Harris. That pattern was visible. Race and ethnicity, 41% of white voters went for Kamala, 57% went for Trump. Nationally, roughly 1 in 10 voters were Hispanic, a similar share as in 2020, according to early network exit polling. Harris won slight majority Hispanic voters nationally, significantly underperforming Joe Biden's 33-point margin in 2020. 33. Stop listening to these fucking idiots, okay? At a certain point, you will realize that these guys are just running on a reactionary slant. They're simple contrarians that have been far too invested in the fuck Hasan train for some weird reason I don't really understand. Oh. The fuck Hasan people are going to be more annoying now that now after Trump is in office? No. The most insufferable streamers cough. Mike from PA cough will be forced to acknowledge that Kamala will smart to pivot the center and aggressively target moderate Republicans. Guys, please. Yeah. He also owes our boy money, for the record. How much is it? Is Michael in here? Mike, are you in here? How much does he owe you? $1,500 now? What is it? How many
So
times
she targeted
own this delusional
moderate
guy?
Republicans, and they voted the same.
What's the total?
2020 and 2024.
In this thread, he shows all my correct analysis. Kamala winning means the worst people you know of will feel like complete shit. MAGA will be caught way off guard because they all think it'll be a Trump landslide. Elon will be forced to confront the fact that he simply can't buy his preferred outcome. Anti-electoral Twitter lefties will feel utterly irrelevant and powerless. People, please, you have no idea how much I need this. The most insufferable streamers, cough, Mike from PA cough, will be forced to acknowledge that Kamala was smart to pivot to the center and aggressively target moderate Republicans. Please. It turns out that Kamala Harris was lying when she said that Biden and Harris were working 24/7 for a ceasefire and hostage deal. Being a leftist is about being right, but too early for people to admit. October's surprise of a war with Iran could lose their election. Harris has completely fumbled by turning to the right and totally cratered her support among young people and black people. Pathetic and deserved. It's really amazing just how siloed pro-Kamala commentators are from the actual empirical data on polling error. The overwhelming evidence is that the downside risk in this election is in underestimating Trump in the actual vote. That fact is basically ignored. Here's my map as of today. I could be convinced that she holds Wisconsin, but it's irrelevant. Harris loses even with Wisconsin flipping blue. He was right. Okay? He was right. And I find it really weird that these guys are so wrong and they're not even embarrassed to be wrong. Will we have a fair assessment? To be fair to him, today admitted that you were right. The top level data shows us something that seemed inevitable in hindsight. The country, like many others, blamed the incumbent party for inflation, and Kamala inherited that blame. I find myself disagreeing with Hasan a lot these days, but he's absolutely right that if the Democratic Party is going to chart a path in the 21st century, we need to figure out a way to compete in that space. Conservatives are dominating alternative media right now and have been for years. That is an issue that's not going away. It's beyond that. Okay? That is one aspect of this conversation.
One thing I want
but if liberals only hyper-focus on like dominating fucking media and the podcast space, they will lose again because this problem is larger than that. Okay? Please. I have been ringing the fucking alarm bells on not only right-wing radicalization, especially amongst young men, especially on social media, but beyond that, I have consistently maintained the same position over and over again, and I hope people hear me when I say this.
The Democratic Party should hire him.
Having a bunch
he was
of
calling
people
it
like me or
months
Harry
ago.
Sassans
What the problem
going
was
out there and doing podcasts. Okay, it's not just that. There is a major problem with the way that the Democratic Party is seen by the broader population for good reason. The Democratic Party are seen as the elite institutionalists at a time when people do not believe these institutions any longer. There is no more trust in media. There is no more trust. And by the way, that's the fault of mainstream outlets for the most part. Just remember that. Although I have a lot of trust and respect for many journalists that work in these institutions, they're fucking dropping the ball spectacularly. Okay? This decentralized space has created this massive fucking rift where people just look for their hug boxes. Okay? They look for their own hug boxes. They do not see anything outside of that at all. But there is one way to break through. And it's not just like making the best fucking possible podcast to appeal to these people. Okay? That's one part of it. But what you also have to do, fucking do is change the attitude of the Democratic Party. Okay? You have to focus on the material harms that people are experiencing, and you have to actually put up a fucking fight. Drop this bullshit with like corporate donors and corporate benefactors. If you don't do that, fascism is going to thrive, and you are slowly but surely going to lean to the right over and over again, year over year, and always refuse to comprehend like why this is happening. You're like, oh, people are too stupid to vote for us. Why don't they vote for us? Why don't they vote for us? It's because you're just simply normalizing right-wing sentiment to your base when you do that, instead of launching a fight. People are not separating your quote-unquote socialist identity and your analysis of how the DNC has been fucking up since 2016. It's one of the biggest uphill battles I've noticed when engaging with naysayers. I know. If I had never been revealed as a socialist and I simply said I'm a diehard, die-in-the-wool, vote blue no matter who type fucking Democrat, and I'm simply looking at the polls and saying like, well, it seems like people really want Medicare for all, then maybe there would be less animosity towards the things that I'm talking about. People, when I kept repeating all of the failures of the Kamala Harris campaign, everybody simply said, nah, dog, the only reason why you're saying this is because you care about Gaza. Nobody else cares about Gaza. Shut the fuck up. That's why you're just cynically talking about all these other aspects of the campaign in an effort to make Kamala Harris look bad. No, it is because I did not want Donald Trump to win. And I'm sick and tired of the Democratic Party constantly fucking losing to psychopathic and genuinely unlikable fascists. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yes. That someone
I care
fascist
about trans people. I care about undocumented immigrants. I care about black people. I care about these marginalized communities that are going to be harmed. I care about women being able to have autonomy over their own fucking bodies. These are the things I do care about. I care about the working class. I don't want these people to get harmed under another administration going further and further into right-wing fascism.
What are you eating? You have chocolate on your mouth.
Coffee.
This was a resounding victory for the Republican Party.
A victory no one saw coming that bad. I mean, I get it. Like, there was hope. Both sides are always hopeful, but to the point of what happened, that was a red tsunami, if you will.
Honestly, I was a major naysayer. I called you cynical. I'm sorry. I was very wrong. It's okay. But remember, if you came in here early on to tell me I was wrong, okay, I do not fault you for that. There was so much communication from the top that, like, no, actually the left is fucking delusional. They're stupid. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're patently unserious people. And they're doing that right now. They're doing that in mainstream media right now. Okay? At this very moment, every fucking panel is repeating the same stupid sentiments over and over and over again, that, like, Kamala didn't attack right enough. She should attack further to the fucking right. That was a major flaw in her campaign. All this shit. Remember, the part of your brain that wanted to believe that comfortable narrative that people
Where's that
were
at?
pushing,
I'm sure it's a
and work
pro-Trump
against that.
rally, or is that a
We
protest?
should have accountability for people on our side that spread misinformation about polling. I don't necessarily care about that all too much. I'm more of a message person. I care about the campaign that the Democratic Party is committed to. I don't really give a shit about people not believing or believing the polls all that much. Because
Yeah,
I
who
think
cares about
that
the polls? Never pay
polling
attention to
being
the
correct
stupid
or
polls.
polling being incorrect does not change
Oh,
the
look,
reality
Pelosi.
that the Democratic Party was obviously doing a fucking awful job. I actually unsubbed a couple months ago because I was so angry that with what you were saying, but you were right and I was wrong. I never thought it would be a Harris blowout, but I thought she had more support than she did. It's all good. You can subscribe again now. All of you can subscribe as well, as a matter of fact, at the top of the hour, where there is not a 3-minute ad break, but you can still subscribe regardless. Twitch Primes are free. And you can subscribe to show support if you would like to, and keep this an ad-free broadcasting experience for everyone. You can also get gifted a sub. You can use those emotes that you get from gifted subs. Where's the flex, though? I mean, I'm wearing a suit today, so. Are we cooked? I think we are. I think we are definitely not in a good situation.
Yeah, we're cooked.
Let's see what the Democratic Party messaging is. Let's see what
lost
it looks
the whole
like.
Congress.
I'm very interested to see. Yeah, viewers like you, PBS style. Viewers like you keep the editorial independence of the Hasan broadcast. By subscribing, you can show your support and help me maintain my editorial independence. Subscribe now for free with a Twitch Prime or by $6. Holy fuck. Wait, hold on. I don't know if you mentioned this, but congrats on your highest viewed broadcast at 312,000 peak concurrent viewers. Yeah.
Damn, he has a record viewers. That's because
that was the other
everyone
side.
wants
We
to
didn't
come
even
in
get to, like,
and just
experience the
see him
joy
seize or
of-
see
of
him
hitting those
be pissed
fucking
off or see
markers.
what he has to say because he's
But,
obviously
yes,
like
last night
progressive,
I
in
reached
case you don't know him.
312,000
but
live
he
concurrent
doesn't back
viewers,
down. He doesn't shy
doubling the
down from
number
calling
of
it
the
like it
likes
is.
of
Both sides.
basically doubling the number
And,
of the likes of NBC News.
I guess we're
and
waiting
many
for
other,
the Kamala
news outlets.
speech. The Kamala conceding speech. What time is she gonna give it? I think now.
And yeah.
So rather than do my own post-election
ultimately
stream or video,
was
I'd
not
rather
great.
hear
yes, doubling
him,
the number
'cause
of
he could say things
news outlets
better
online.
than I could or most other people could.
Yeah. I've aggregated 34 polls that show the immense popularity of the ceasefire and emphasize the positive impact the weapons embargo would have on Kamala Harris' chance of winning the election. I wish I didn't have to make this list. This was a Hasan head that made this list. But I'm consistently seeing Democrats and liberals and even some progressives make the argument that this is an issue that will impact the election, often saying not enough voters care about Gaza for it to matter. I hope this comprehensive list of polls can dispel this ridiculous argument so more pressure can be applied and get a weapons embargo implemented ASAP. Split ticket data for progress conducted July 1st to July 3rd. Generic ballot found Dems had a 3+3 lead over Republicans. When told that both Republicans and Democrats agree with Israel's approach, Dems +3 lead becomes a tie. However, if the Democrats said to support an immediate ceasefire and a halt of military aid and arms sales to Israel, the lead doubles to +6, driven mainly by reaching independents and non-voters. What was interesting is I think if the Republican was said to support an immediate ceasefire and a halt to military aid and arms to Israel, the Republican also led over the Democrat. AI poll conducted. Harris' support rises from 44 to 49 if she endorsed the suspension of U.S. arms shipment until there was a ceasefire and withdrawal of forces from Gaza. About half respondents said an immediate ceasefire is very important to them. YouGov IMEU policy project conducted July 25th to 9th on swing state voters. 34% of PA voters, 35% of AR voters, 39% of Georgia voters are more likely to support the Democratic nominee if they vowed to withhold weapons to Israel. Less likely was between 5 to 7%. She's not talking yet. Why are you guys saying she's speaking? I'm speaking.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. We don't know that part.
Bernie popped off on the Dems, by the way. My goat.
Bernie's the GOAT. Always. Yeah, Bernie in 2016 would have won. Trump wouldn't have run in 2020, and if he would have, he would have lost.
God bless
So we entered
America.
MAGA universe
The 18 to
because we
34
did not
demographic
put
shift to me is the
Bernie
most
in the
startling,
primary.
says global affairs columnist from the Washington Post. At the risk of painting a far too broad brush, it's an entire generation that's trending towards post-literacy. That doesn't read full articles, doesn't read books, gets its information from bits and bobs of video while scrolling. This is true not just of young people, but of course, it's reshaping the political landscape.
Exactly, that's what I've been saying. It's all the social
I
media
think that
clips,
is
sound
a major
bites
issue here
that
for sure.
guide the mind to who you're supposed to vote for. It makes you think what you're supposed to vote for. But when
Here,
you look
let's
into
speed
it,
this up,
somebody
see if
dropped
we
something in the
catch
back.
up to real life.
They're walking fast. Maybe we'll hear
What
a
the
side
fuck is
of Kamala that
post-literacy?
we
It just
haven't
means
seen
that
before.
People don't give a fuck about
Because
reading a full article anymore. And
seems
they're
like
just
she hides her
they're slaves of the goddamn headlines and TikTok videos.
her true colors. Seems like
Our
she hides
attention
her.
spans have shortened.
She doesn't give herself
Okay.
off. Like she doesn't let you in too much, and she keeps it at a distance. Like kind of like talking to a manager. You know, a manager's not gonna start telling you about their personal life.
With George W. Bush points towards Kamala's loss being less about ideology and more about competence. If the story was public rejection progressivism, Baldwin wouldn't have fared well. She's arguably to the left of Harris. If it was voters rejecting centrism, Slotkin wouldn't have done well. The common denominator is that they were A, experienced, B, not Biden admin members. Gallego in Arizona is another example. He's outrunning Kamala by a ton. In the state, she's lost a ton of ground. He's a past progressive who ran hard to the center like she tried to. It worked for him, but not for her. I don't think so. I think that, once again, it's issues based for the most part when it comes to Senate runs, and when it comes down to like down ballot races, they are forced to make stances on issues specifically. A lot of people definitely didn't like Joe Biden. That much remains. And a lot of people associated Kamala Harris with Joe Biden, and that was a major flaw. But I think the reality of the matter is that there are that Like, we will never know what a more progressive message would look like in those races. That's number one. And number two, I think that overall, when you have to force your campaign around issues directly and not about like fucking civility or whatever the fuck, people are going to be more responsive to that.
Yeah, that whole civility thing, that whole professional thing,
Yeah,
that
also
taking
Gago's
the
point
high
is
road.
very unlikable. That
hasn't worked.
as well plays a role.
That didn't work.
Trainwreck
Didn't work again.
goes off on his chat for thinking their lives are going to be changed from better due to Donald Trump being elected.
Tomorrow, listen, tomorrow, your life is not changing. You're waking up.
He's doing the Hasan Abi method. He's doing it, the mad lad. That is like verbatim what I've been telling Republicans in my chat. They keep saying cope and seethe.
Going to work, or you're waking up, you're picking your ass for the little dingleberry that's sticking out of your fucking ass hairs, and
What a beautiful way with words he
you're gonna
has.
flick it on your fucking wall. That's about it. Your life is not changing. Do you understand? Your life is not changing. The only person getting rich from this is me, Aiden Ross, XQC, and he's fucking brother. A Canadian is getting more results from.
Okay, to be fair, that's not true. XQC is down $700,000. I'm sure that he's more than made up for it with how much cryptocurrencies went up, but like he did lose $700,000 because Divorcelli told him Kamala is a lock.
Trump winning than you as an American. How can you, normal people that are living your 9-to-5 jobs, be sitting here saying, yeah, man, fuck yeah, Trump won. Life's going to be great now. Hell yeah. Brother, I can name 10 Canadians that are benefiting from Trump winning more than you Americans. What the fuck delusional world are you living in? Tomorrow.
I don't know who that guy is. Oh, wait.
Do you think there's a possible future where there's a party realignment where Democrats decide they have to go further right than the Republican Party in order to win? I feel like that's the only possible strategizing the powers that be in the Democratic Party can come up with. I mean, you will never be able to outflank the Republicans. They'll just be like full-blown Hitler. I mean, they are already there.
You move more to the right, they're going to move even more to the right.
Said that they're full-blown Hitlerian, but their policies are full-blown Hitler. So I don't know how much further right they can go. I guess like they want to kill you if you're gay, maybe. Like I don't know. Like concentration camps, not just for the undocumented migrants, but for like undesirables, the moral degenerates, in the same way that Hitler did. For
This
like
is probably
trans people,
as
gay
far
people.
right as the liberalism
White
and
not allowed to
Democrats
have
went,
abortions.
and it didn't do anything for them. It did worse.
Like that would be, I guess that
Count
is
the
where they'll
votes.
go, but
Where all
they'll
the
still
mail-in
go right.
ballots
There's
to the
always room
rescue.
to go more right.
The biggest character in this race, to me, was not on the ballot in 2020. It was Joe Biden, in my opinion. Like, Joe Biden's refusal to do what he implied he would do in 2020 and transition to a different type of generation, allow Democrats to have a broader conversation about change, allow Democrats to be freed from the status quo, is not what happened. I think it would be easier for me to say that Donald Trump completed this mass realignment among the working class if we had a universe where the Democrats had a primary, where the Democrats nominated a candidate that was based around some set of ideas, and it was not tied to this administration so clearly and the status quo. But since that is not what happened, I think it has made the Republican ability to be the agents of change so much easier that I find it the biggest thing that has happened in this race. And I think speaks to what we're saying about what's happened over the last 3 months. The place that they were in before the candidate switch happened made it such that you could run a perfect race or whatever. And you are still playing on ground that brings you to 50-50. Because the biggest thing, in my opinion, that happened was they tied themselves to an unpopular administration and with it, the status quo.
That did not represent change.
And there was a...
Yes, dude. Yes. It's 100%. Flawless campaign, by the way.
The biggest character in this race, to me, was not on the ballot.
Oh, here. This is the video version of Ested saying these things. Friend of the show, Ested. I specifically remember Biden saying he would run again. Why are people making this up? No, he actually alluded to being a one-term president and a transitional candidate pretty early on because everyone was like, he's old, he's too old, he's too old. Start the steal is what I'm saying. Why the fuck haven't we started the steal yet? What happened? Is it too big to rig, folks? Are the too big to rig guys right? Were they right? They were too big to rig. Start the steal. Anyway, Donald Trump is no greater friend of the far left, which has managed to alienate historic numbers of Latinos, blacks, Asians, and Jews from the Democratic Party with absurdities like defund the police or from the river to the sea or Latinx. There is more to lose than there is to gain politically from pandering to a far left that is more representative of Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok than it is of the real world. The working class is not buying the ivory towered nonsense that the far left is selling. Some context here. Despite representing the poorest district in the country, a survey of Torres' public posts from January 2021 to October 2023 shows he mentioned Israel 236% more than he mentioned poverty. Another fun fact, in 2024, Richie Torres received more money from pro-Israel groups than any of the other 434 members of Congress, with $1.93 million in donations and super PAC support. Just so you understand. Fraudulent charlatan he is. Bro, I'm trying. They changed the... Yeah, Richie Torres also was too busy instead of fucking campaigning and instead of getting out the vote. He spent the last 5 days leading up to the election writing letters with a congressional header to try to get me, the largest progressive content creator in North America, banned from Twitch. And he was primed to do so by a community chock full of online trolls that have been doing Gamergate style politics. That's what they were focused on in the last couple of days of the election. While I was trying to do election coverage, that's what the fuck they were focused on. Just interesting stuff to me. I feel like maybe your priorities were a little out of whack. They're doubling down on that. They think you caused Kamala to lose. Yeah. Should have been phone banking and knocking on fucking doors, you know?
All right,
More
I thought
doors.
I was going to stream this to see Kamala's speech, but I don't know, it was taking too long after I
Yeah,
get
but
back
he
to
did
work.
a lit video editing, though. Worth it? Yeah, he did. He fucking
Okay, I got
clipped
15
like
minutes.
Second,
How long is
18-second
her
increments.
speech going to be? 15 minutes?
Yeah, reporters should ask these politicians that want swinging too far to the left means support for trans people, gay marriage, higher minimum wage. Force them to spell it out. We swung the pendulum too far to the left, Representative Richie Torres told
Yeah,
Semaphore.
too far to the left.
We are
Too much
increasingly becoming the party
LGBT,
of
too
college
much
educated rather than the
pro-trans.
working class, and as a result, we are paying an electoral price for it. I hope we have a serious reckoning.
Maybe there needs to be a third party. That's more in the middle.
Trump shouted
Middle
out
right.
streamers in his speech. Do you think Kamala will mention you? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, Biden won in 2020 because of me. No, just kidding. When the Democrats win, it's in spite of me, and when the Democrats lose, it's because of me. Me.
I mean,
So
weren't
fucking
weren't
stupid, dude.
Democrats
I'm
due for a
goddamn Twitch
loss
streamer. If your
already?
fucking
Haven't they
entire
been
worldview
winning?
is like
Hey, who's this?
revolving around dominating a fucking Twitch streamer, you have to literally just
Is it
log
mic-
out
is that
of
sound
every
check? Mic
social
check?
media platform that you're on and just live in the real world.
People stop
for a
saying,
second.
"Oh, Trump is your
Okay.
president now." No, Biden is still the president. In case you didn't know how it works, they don't become president the day that they win the election.
It's actually insane. It's so goddamn delusional. Anyway, like I said, there's not a single swing state where Kamala could have won if every single Jill Stein Cornell wasn't Claudia de la Cruz vote went to her. In states where Trump won by a large margin, populist economic policies won. Paid sick leave in Nebraska and minimum wage in Missouri. Okay?
Paid sick leave or minimum wage. Those are more
Just
leftist
remember
policies.
The age-old adage.
So-
Americans love radical progressive measures. They just hate the fucking Democrats. There is nothing more popular in the Rust Belt, in the Sun Belt, in the Midwest, all around the
So you
nation
got all these Republicans
than a
in those states that
faceless,
voted for
lifeless,
progressive measures, but they
a
didn't vote for
faceless,
progressive
lifeless,
candidates.
radical, quote-unquote, radical ballot measure. He had no ground game. He was out fundraised. He was outspent. He was out volunteered. Voter turnout was up. Women voters showed up. Something doesn't add up.
That's what I've been
we're
saying.
in blue anon territory. Great.
Yeah, it might be
He won,
conspiracy
man.
territory,
he won fair and
but
fucking square. What the hell are we doing here?
seeing the change in momentum from when
I'm
Biden
so
stepped
scared
down,
that liberals are deluding themselves
seeing her
into,
numbers
like,
go
the
up
exact
from
same.
where Biden was, and all the
She logged into
donations that
misogyny more.
surpassed
You can
Trump
see this through
donations in the first
dissection of
month,
demographics.
for
Okay.
this turnout to happen,
Guys,
it's
Kamala
kind of
Harris
strange.
is a black woman.
Kind of strange.
Okay, she
I mean-
knows this better than you all do. Why do I know she knows this?
She didn't come off
Because
as
she never
likable
did
or
that,
be-
like,
or
I'm a black woman, that's why
believable,
you have to vote for me shit that
but
Hillary Clinton was
to
pulling
lose
off
that
when she
much
was
support
going the I'm with her
after
route.
winning the
Okay?
debate, after he was
You have
an
to
embarrassment
overcome
after
those
the
hurdles, and she
debate,
could have out-messaged on that.
the
Not by
state's
tacking to the right,
McDonald's thing,
but by simply
like,
addressing the fucking
New
problems
York
that people
rally
were
full of hate and
experiencing.
people cussing and talking
That's
shit
it.
to everybody else. Is like
People do not give
he
a
was
shit
just trying
who
to
their
find ways to
politician
lose
is or what
support.
their demographic
And
background looks like. There are people who
the
do care
Democratic
about
side
that,
couldn't
and they're racist,
capitalize
and they're
on it.
never going to fucking vote for her anyway, okay? They're Republicans regardless. But there are so many people who just want to believe that the Democratic Party will defend them. And if you don't put that message out there, you're not going to win. That's it.
It's taking too long. Kamala, where are you?
That's it. We're still waiting on Kamala Harris.
Still waiting.
Your prescription for the Democrats are just confirming your priors. Yes, they're my priors for a reason. I don't believe ascendant fascism is a law of nature. I feel the nominally left-wing party in the U.S. is paid to discipline populism, not win elections, and that is bad. For weeks, I asked any evidence Liz Cheney had naturally occurring constituency outside of MSNBC, and I was repeatedly told Shore and Dunn had super secret data that this is what the public was crying out for. You think I'm just vibing on ideology? You should see the other guys. It's all ideology all the way down. Welcome to the party. This is very important to understand. They call us idealists. We are not idealists. We are pragmatists. We are realists, okay? The things that we advocate for are not only morally correct, but they're also good campaign measures, whether it be on Gaza, okay, separating yourself from Biden's objectively horrifying, morally unconscionable, but also deeply unpopular Israel policy was not only the morally correct thing to do, but it was also electorally successful. Do you understand? And it's not just Gaza either. There's room in the tank for every single fucking issue that the Democratic Party tacked to the center on. Okay? Every single issue, sorry. Say you want to expand Medicare. If you're not going to do Medicare for all, say you want to expand Medicare to at least 55-year-olds. That is a fantastically popular, means-tested policy. But no, we can't do that. That's too radical. This is why I don't understand why they ever picked Tim Walz to begin with.
I don't know why they chose Tim Walz. I
Does
think they
not
should have
make
gone with Shapiro.
any sense. Okay?
I mean, he's a
It's
good
on
vice
CNN.
president.
Right now, I'm
He's a
not
good
going to
candidate.
watch CNN. I don't want him to come after me.
Yeah, but if you don't know who Hasan is,
Yeah, and here, those Medicare drug prices that
you're
are
gonna
supposed
like
to
to
drop in
hear him if you're a
2026 will now happen
Democrat
under
or a
Trump administration,
Republican.
which he will, of course, take credit for. And then maybe he'll be able to push J.D. Vance into a resounding success.
So we're waiting for Kamala to do her concession to concede her speech. I keep on messing that.
A quick
word up.
heartbreaking video of from October of Black Detroit organizers. Okay, we're not going to do that right now.
So Kamala, in case you don't know, Kamala already conceded. She already called Trump. She already spoke to Trump.
Yep. Time to break from the left. Next time, Dem should try saying
despite all
more
this,
crackdown
the
on
disgusting
immigration than
things he
Republicans
posted
defund the
and
police
said
and the
about her,
prosecutor.
calling her
Talk about having a gun,
unintelligent, calling
wanting
her
a strong
stupid,
military instead of your identity.
claiming
Just some
that she
ideas.
got to
More
where she
ideas
was
of how
by
Dem should pivot to the middle
by
in the
being a
wake of
slut,
this loss. Offer to put a
by
Republican in
committing
your
sexual
cabinet.
acts.
Find Republicans willing to be your
Despite all
surrogates
that,
and make them major parts of the campaign.
you know, she still
Talk of how much
had
you
to be
agree with
the
Republicans
bigger
on the
person.
issue in debates.
That's the
If you
part
do
that I
wind up
kind of don't like.
proposing
Like, why
policies
do
like
the
capital gains tax
Democrats
increase,
always
make
have
sure
to
that
be
you
the
propose a
adult in the
hike
room?
smaller
Why
than
they're the
proposals
ones
from
that have
other
to
leading
take
Democrats. Avoid making
the high
sensitive
road?
concessions to the activist left on Israel. In fact,
And, you
reassert
know,
Israel's right to defend itself.
Trump
I
not
guess
one
at the end of the
time
day, I just wish Harris
conceded,
hadn't said Latinx so much.
admitted that he lost, even though it wasn't even close. It wasn't like a couple states that decided the 2020 election. It was like 7 states that he lost. 7 swing
What was
states.
also so nutty
He
about
lost
it
by the
was
same margin that
Kamala
he
Harris
beat
had ran
Hillary.
against all
So,
of this in 2019
Hillary
when the
didn't-
Democratic Party was
she
worried
didn't,
about a Bernie Sanders victory in the primaries.
drag it out. She
Okay?
conceded that same night. No, actually, the next day.
That's
No,
the
she
issue
conceded
here.
that night, and she gave her speech the next day, kind of like what
Like,
Kamala's doing now,
that's
because
the
the
problem
count takes
here.
so long now. But there was not
Do you
enough.
believe
There was
the
no
rest of
voter
the world
turnout.
feels
The
something
whole
the
Liz
same to the US election?
Cheney
Yeah, it's not how that
going
works.
after
Bernie
moderate
Sanders calling out the Democrats. Do
Republicans.
we
I
have a
think they
video or
misgauged that
just
by a
a
lot.
post?
It probably didn't even move the needle, I think. He's not saying nothing, or am I?
Oh, also, the Department of Justice are delaying their cases against Donald Trump as expected. Oh boy.
That these cases can't go
He's the
forward
goat
when
now.
Donald Trump takes office. What's interesting here is that the DOJ is moving to end them even before he takes office, citing the long-standing DOJ policy that sitting presidents can't be prosecuted. And there was some thought that maybe Special Counsel Jack Smith was going to sprint through the finish line, was going to work up until the last day, force Trump to
should've.
fire him, wait till
Why-
a new
why
attorney
didn't-
general
why didn't he
was
do that?
appointed. But that does not appear to be the
He's
thinking
giving
inside
up.
the department. The thinking is that these cases can't go forward. There's no reasonable prospect of getting to trial within the 3 months before Donald Trump takes office. These cases are mired in legal issues that would be appealed all the way to the
It
Supreme
would take
Court.
time,
had
and it will
Donald
go to the
Trump
Supreme
lost the
Court,
election.
and the Supreme
So now
Court
he's won the
already is
election.
on Trump's side.
DOJ officials
They've already
are thinking
given him
that,
some kind
look,
of
there's just
immunity.
No room to move
There's
in
just
these
no way,
cases, and so
in the time that's
the
left, that you're going to be
sensible
able
thing
to
do is to figure out a way to wind them
charge
down. And it
Trump
may-
for his crimes.
It may stem from Donald Trump's lawyers filing some kind of motion or making a request saying, in light of the DOJ policy, you need to drop these cases. Now, there are a few wrinkles here, one of which is that the classified documents case includes 2 other defendants who are not subject to that policy, and it's been dismissed, obviously, but that dismissal has been appealed, and the DOJ considers that ruling to be very bad law, that it would like to be overturned. So that appeal may continue in some form, but the reality is that Donald Trump is not going to be a part of these cases. And what this means, I mean, we knew this, right? But just coming to grips
That's why
with what
he's
this
running.
means
That's why
intellectually
he ran,
is that
to
Donald
get that
Trump
money to
is
pay
not
off all the
likely to
legal
be held
fees.
accountable on these very serious federal criminal charges
And
that
he
many people
committed
believe
a lot of
were
federal
worse
criminal-
than what Richard Nixon did or was accused of
It
doing.
was worse than
in
Nixon
Watergate.
by a
Now,
mile.
there's no guarantee that
It
Donald
was
Trump
worse
has
than
been
the Stormy
convicted at
Daniels
trial.
case. They should have never
But as
wasted the
Joyce
time
Vance,
on
our
that
legal
case.
commentator, said to me this morning, what's not going to happen is he's not going to face a jury of his peers who would evaluate the evidence and render a verdict.
Kamala's
The
here.
evidence is there. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Everybody
Good
calm down.
afternoon.
Calm down, everybody.
Let's hear what Mamala has to say.
Mamala
Afternoon.
has taken the stage.
Good afternoon.
Hurry up. I have to go back to work. I have like 5 minutes left.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back.
She was too presidential.
So let me say,
She was too professional.
my heart is full today. My heart is
Full of what?
today.
Of love?
Full of gratitude.
Oh, gratitude. Okay.
For the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for,
Hell no.
not what we voted for, but
Yeah,
hear
they
me
didn't-
when I say,
They didn't vote.
hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. America's promise.
Get your strength together, bro.
L.
As long
Look at the chat.
as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting.
Oh yeah, every losing candidate is in it's gonna have an L.
To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much.
Biden just should have dropped out sooner.
To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support.
It's hard to think he would have done
Governor
worse.
Walz and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue.
Walz is probably like the most decent, good
And
politician
to my
besides
extraordinary
Bernie.
team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you
Why
all.
is she smiling?
Look, I am so proud of the race we
You
ran.
lost.
That's what she always
And
does.
the way we ran it. And the way we ran it.
Smiling.
Over
Stop
the
smiling.
107 days of this campaign,
Grieve with us.
we
Stop
have been
smiling.
intentional about building community and building coalitions. Bringing
Guys,
people
she's smiling
together
because there's
from
going to be so many
every
Republicans in the
walk of life
cabinet.
and background. United by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future.
She's smiling because she's coming back to to California.
And she got it.
The knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know
Yeah, that.
folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with
no.
President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory.
Boo! He
I
didn't
also
deserve it.
told him
Boo!
that we will help him and his team with their transition.
No,
And that
don't
we
do
will
that.
engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, woo, yeah, be the only adult here. Set the example,
A fundamental
even though they couldn't do that for
principle
you
of American
guys.
democracy is that when we lose an election,
Just
we
clean the
accept
White House.
results.
Yeah, accept the results.
That
Just clean the White
principle,
House.
as much
Leave it
as any
ready. You
other,
don't have to see him on the way out.
distinguishes democracy from
Don't do what
monarchy
Michelle Obama
or
did
tyranny.
and give them a gift.
And
Give them gifts,
anyone
man.
who
They don't
seeks
deserve
the
crap.
public trust
Come on.
must honor it. At the same time,
But Democrats have
in
to
our
leave the
nation,
example of what
we owe
Professional
loyalty
politicians
not
are.
to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
Amen, sister.
And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I
Our
am
God,
here
did you hear
to
that?
say,
Oh, she's not.
while
She's
I
against
concede this
God,
election,
Jesus.
I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up.
How do I change
I
my
will never
setting
give
to?
up the fight for a future where
say
Americans
Kamala's
can
speech.
pursue their dreams,
get more views.
ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld. And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square.
Stop talking.
And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work.
Yeah, I can, but you said
And
that like
the
a billion
fight
times
for our
already.
country is always worth it. It is always worth it. To the young people who are watching, it is, I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win.
Is it though?
But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while.
Engs for the 5
That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win.
What are you talking about? Win what?
The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
Still no female president.
You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
And fight? And work for what?
This is a
Lost the House
time
and the
to
Senate.
organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives.
Say it.
People who had suffered
you
great harm
prosecuted transnational
and
gangs.
great pain.
Mama law.
And yet found within themselves
Oh my God! Please say
the
say
strength
it. Say it.
and the
Say
courage
that you are a small
and the
business
resolve
lover. I'm a small business.
to
You're a
take
small
the
business.
to take a stand.
No, didn't say we're gonna
To
keep
fight
fighting for the middle
for
class.
justice, to fight for
Fight for small
themselves,
businesses. Fight for
to
everyday
fight for
Americans.
others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an
Already?
adage an
Short.
historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time,
We are.
but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light.
Be the light of the world.
The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service.
Donald Trump said he's going to start mass deportations day one, by the way, as of this morning, according to Axios reporting.
And
Chatter says, or you could have prevented the dark times. No, they took over this administration after the dark time, which was the COVID pandemic. Come on.
Extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States.
Amen,
of
sister.
America. I thank you all.
This isn't compared to Hillary's speech. My Hillary's speech was deep and it was long and it was very moving. But stop smiling. Stop smiling. There's nothing to smile about, bro. You lost.
Why is she laughing and smiling? I don't understand.
No, man, you couldn't have prevented the dark times. What are we talking about? She's not. She wasn't president.
American fascist.
She's the vice president.
You know what I mean?
She's just the backup. Get mad at Joe
like,
Biden for not doing
I take
better.
This shit, dude. That's right. That's right. I came in and I fucking destroyed any hope that you might have had of combating growing fascist momentum in this country. And I'm smiling and waving away, dude. Let's go. She made hints for a run in 2028, but her political future is dead, right? Don't tell me the libs will. No. She's done. It's over.
She's done.
I do not believe.
Score alert: 5-1 Barcelona.
I do not believe that Kamala Harris has a
5-1 Barcelona. They are on a roll, dude.
Of running for higher office or running for the highest office ever again, especially because Nancy Pelosi and many others in the establishment actually fucking did not like her. They didn't. They were like, she sucks. We should do an open primary. I thought it was a mistake to do an open primary because I thought like she would at least have competent people around her to like, you know, message appropriately. I was wrong. I'm sorry, but what are you saying? You wanted her to cry or what? The fuck do you mean? Demonstrate the appropriate emotion for the fucking time, okay? For the times that are ahead. You just lost.
Yeah, I went them on that one.
Donald Trump.
You have to know that people are hurting. The women, your supporters,
like Donald Trump, who was already,
the black females. You know they're all hurting.
People didn't like him.
It's not a time to smile.
Person.
It's like, does she smile in funerals too,
and she's
or
over
what?
Here smiling.
You're supposed to display that emotion to connect.
Are we in imminent danger or not?
Connect
Is Donald
with
Trump
people,
a
make them
fascist or
feel
not? Can someone explain this to me?
You're with them in this grieving period.
A brief
now,
history
I
of
was smiling. I tried hard.
Trump has never
we did it, and we could go together and
conceded.
Leave with that adage that was. It was a bit corny, but I do like it. It's true when you can see the stars when it's at the darkest, and if it's still dark, then you have to be
like talent.
Kind of reminds me of that
is
phrase.
So
be the light you wish to see in this world.
There are a lot of guys like
do the
Timothy
good
Waltz
that you want to
there,
see in other
okay?
people do.
Tim Waltz is
you
not
want to
the
see other
only
people
guy.
do. You could do that.
You got Gretchen Whitmer.
That's
you got
fucking
fucking the likes of Big Boy Pritzker. You have a lot of people out there. You Bashar, Hasan, shut the fuck up challenge. You're fucking dumb. Let me guess. You're upset that I'm telling a woman that she shouldn't be smiling in this moment, right? That's what you're tracking. Is that what it is? Oh, never mind. White people happy. Okay, you're just fucking around.
I learned.
Anyway.
I learned don't tell a girl to smile more. Don't ever do that.
So there are a lot of
I learned that
people
the hard way. Well, we heard Kamala's speech. It was short.
Ready to go.
It was all right.
People who
it was too positive.
People who could do populist leadership.
She didn't connect emotionally with what the nation is feeling.
The Democratic Party.
She didn't.
The Democratic Party has.
She still has this
populists
type of barrier that she doesn't.
That they could actually
let
present
you in
like a more
personally. And I think it's good in some levels, but
agenda
to a certain point, you need to get deep and get personal about yourself. And
for many Americans,
I wish everybody would have heard or would still hear. You go back, I'm sure it's on YouTube. When Hillary made her speech after she lost in 2016, I had people say, "Why didn't she talk like this before? Like I didn't know she had that in her."
Less than
she came true. She came clean, I guess you could say. And
They're gonna
And that's
go
when I
with,
felt like, damn,
the
we
Newsom-
did have a pretty good candidate
Yeah,
there.
they're going to go with the Pete Buttigieg,
So
Gavin Newsom, Shapiro route. Young, more vibrant, better communicators, certainly more charismatic than the likes of Kamala Harris, for example. But people who
Chatter,
are still
thank you
going
for
to be
everyone
seen
today for
as
coming to my
establishment
speech.
shills with new packaging.
where I tell you to suck it up
We shall
and wait
see
for the
what
next time as I
happens,
allow fascists to take over
because
minorities'
these,
rights
next 4
because
years
I
are going to be
decided to
pretty
throw the
important
campaign.
in hopefully changing
She tried. I
attitude
don't
within
think
the Democratic
it was
Party,
specifically her.
because this
the
spectacular
campaign.
failure should
Obviously
at the
they had
very
like
least wake up some people
3 months
who
to
still
build a campaign that
have,
people usually have
some
1 or
level
2
of
years.
decency and some level of interest in preserving.
Biden just should have dropped out sooner. If he was going
the
to drop out,
future
he just
prospects
should
of
have
the
dropped out
American
sooner.
Democratic Party, maybe stopping
hold
American
a
fascism.
primary and get someone else
I
there.
don't know.
And if she wouldn't have won
I mean,
the
it's
primary,
kind of
then
copium for sure.
maybe what Hakeem Jeffries, Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, any of these guys would have given Trump a run for the money, or maybe even beat him.
Who very much
But
chose her.
Or
look
maybe
at the
there won't
voter
be another
turnout.
election.
The
So
voter
there's
turnout
that reality as well.
didn't not nearly.
let's
The
look at
more
Bernie's,
people vote, the
statement.
more the
It should come
Democratic
as no
Party
great surprise that the
has a
Democratic
chance
Party, which is
to
abandoned
win.
working class people, would find
The less
working
people
classes
that vote,
abandoned them. First
the
was
more
white working class.
benefits
Now it is Latino
Republicans.
and black workers as well.
That's the way it
While
goes.
the Democratic leadership
That's what the
defends the
stats have
status quo,
shown.
the American people are angry
In
and want change,
2016,
and they're right.
Everybody
Today, while
felt
the very rich are doing
disenfranchised
phenomenally
from
well, 60%
the
of
whole
Americans live
Hillary
paycheck to
emails
paycheck,
that
and
she
we have
under
more income and wealth
FBI
inequality than ever
investigation
before.
back when people still believed the FBI.
Unbelievably, real
And they,
inflation accounted for weekly wages for the average
And they
American
felt, you know
worker
what?
are
I don't know
actually
which one
lower
is
now
the lesser of
than
two
they were
evils because
50
they hadn't
years
really
ago.
seen what Trump
Today,
was
despite an
capable
explosion in technology and worker
of
productivity,
doing yet.
many young people will have
So
a worse
everybody
standard
stayed
of living
home.
than their parents, and
Especially
many of
the
them worry
black
that
vote.
artificial intelligence and robotics
All the
will
black
make a bad
voters
situation
stayed
even
back.
worse.
If the black
Today,
voters voted
despite spending far more
in
per
large
capita than other countries, we remain the only
numbers,
wealthy nation not to
or
guarantee health
most
care
people voted,
to all as a human right.
Hillary
And
wins
we
that.
pay
I know it's
by
crazy to
far
say because she
the
lost
highest
the
prices in the
electoral
world for
college by a
prescription
lot.
drugs. We alone among major
But
countries
she
cannot
still
even
won
guarantee
the
paid
popular
family and
vote, something
medical
I think
leave.
Kamala's not
We're
going to
the
do.
only one who can't do
I don't know
that.
how many votes still have to come in from the West Coast states, but it's going to be
Today,
the first time
despite strong
a
opposition
Republican
from
wins
a
the
majority of
popular vote
Americans, we
since
continue to spend billions
I
funding
don't
the
know.
extremist
I
Netanyahu
forgot. It's
government's
been
all-out war against the Palestinian people,
couple
which has
decades,
led to
I
the
think.
horrific humanitarian disaster of mass
Since-
malnutrition
I don't even know
and the
if Bush ever won
starvation
the
of thousands of
popular
children.
vote.
Will the big money
I'll check
interests and
back on
well-paid
that.
consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this
Yeah,
disastrous campaign?
Biden was too
Will they
stubborn.
understand the pain and political
I don't know if it was
alienation that
stubborn.
tens
I
of
think
millions
he
of Americans
felt
are experiencing?
when he said that.
Do
I
they
think
have
he
any
honestly
ideas as to how
felt
we can take on
that
the
he still
increasingly
had it
powerful
in
oligarchy,
him.
which has so much
He
economic and
beat
political
Trump in the
power?
debate the first time
Probably
in
not.
2020. He still felt like he
In
could.
the coming weeks and
But
months,
he goes
those
out there
of us
to the
who's-
debate this year and he's lost and
He said,
saying
"Probably not."
they're gonna do away with
He's done. He's like,
Medi-Cal.
yeah, I've won my.
He just dropped the ball
84th
100%. He was just too
Independent
old. People
Vermont
age
senatorial run.
differently.
I'm
and
done.
by the time they get to the
I'm
70s,
out.
we see people that are still working in their 80s and 90s,
In
and
the coming
some
weeks and
around
months,
that
those of
age
us
they could
concerned
barely
with grassroots
stand
democracy
up.
and economic
So,
justice need to have some very serious
yeah,
political discussions.
it's hard to
Stay
believe
tuned.
Biden would have done worse than this. It's hard to believe because people would say, "I'd rather vote for his corpse than for Trump," but apparently they rather
Anyway,
vote for Trump than for
this
Kamala.
is a surprisingly more
Hasan is
critical
saying.
statement from Bernie Sanders, who has almost always consistently towed the party line at the end, okay? And even after the race is over. So I'm a little bit shocked. Stay tuned. Bernie 2028. Yeah, dude, he's going to run at 98 years old.
at 90 years old.
What use is there
man.
for
If only
safety
Bernie was
now,
younger,
Bernie? You bend
dude.
the knee every time. I understand you don't
Coulda
have
saved
the spine
us.
anymore,
Coulda
but
saved
then
us
you
all
redirect your political capital
from
towards a leftist who does.
The MAGA cult,
Brother,
from fascism.
this is the
Fascism disguised in
impact,
Christianity.
or rather, the shortcomings of entryism. Okay,
Bro,
that's it. That's it.
what did Bernie say? Stay tuned.
I grade politicians on a curve. Make no mistake. I very openly talk about this. It's not necessarily what I personally love from a political campaign, what I think is the best thing for a political campaign to do. It's more so within the limited confines of being in Congress, how far can you push it? That's it. This is why, in spite of my disagreements with Bernie Sanders time and time again, I still have tremendous respect for him. Dems will not be focusing on Gaza more after the L. They'll double down on the Zionist vote. No, you're. I think you're wrong about that. You'll see some things coming out in the at least from certain parts of the caucus. Excuse me. Entryism works incredibly well.
If you're just tuning in, you missed Kamala's
That's
speech.
True. Entryism is always
Exit speech.
fantastic.
If
you're,
she gave a nice metaphor, but she was smiling too much, and it was too short. So again, she failed to connect.
They will always fucking
with
have room
people,
for you
with
in the
voters.
party.
I liked her policy better.
Why is this fucking loser still on television,
to a
man?
movement that is, as Claire said, an
Here's the
FU or a
person
middle
keep up the
finger
fight.
to the
Well, yeah.
establishment and the elite.
What else can you do?
But there are a whole lot of women
Fight the
in
good
this
fight.
country, I think, who feel like collateral damage because
I thought she was gonna win
because
Pennsylvania.
ProPublica has just started its extraordinary body of reporting about the fatal aspect of being pregnant in America.
Yeah, wish we would have got
in
Bernie
Donald
too.
Trump's
It would have prevented the
America.
MAGA
And those
movement
stories
because
won't go away.
Bernie would have won
They will only
2016. He would have won 2020.
more of a flashing
2024,
red light. And
maybe
the truth
Trump would have
is,
came
right
in
now,
here.
The conversations
Maybe.
women have in hallways and in
I doubt it.
colleges is about what they
This
would
was his
do
last
if
go at
they
it because he's
got
too old,
pregnant and didn't
and
have
he wasn't going to
access
run again in 4
abortion
years and
healthcare,
be
or if they
82.
were
He
pregnant
might.
in their 30s or 40s.
I mean, he
and it
might
was
have.
not
He
viable,
can't
or would
anymore,
think,
but
who
I don't
would
think he's
take
going to
care
leave
of them?
office.
And that is a
I think they're going to try to
reality,
do
and that is
something
behind a lot of
to
the emotion that a lot of
put
women,
J.D.
I
Vance
think,
in
and
and have
fear
J.D.
that they
Vance
feel too today.
continue and say,
They
oh,
have to
well,
be criticized as well.
it's
If
his
they
first
had shown
term.
any real opposition to Biden admin, the elections
But
could have been
we'll-
much different. What
we'll
you
see what
called
they
their
come up with.
calculation to decide to back Biden and be silent has been a fiasco.
Friend just texted me the
I think that
Democrats
there
dropped
was
the
a
ball,
mistake
dude.
there for sure.
That's one thing you could
I don't
always
disagree
depend
with that. I
on. The
was very
Democrats
openly
will
critical
drop the
of that
ball.
move.
They will. They
And
have
while it was
the
happening,
victory,
obviously, but
and they snatch the victory out of
You're never going to get
the
someone
jaws.
like me
They snatch
to go above
defeat
and beyond
actually
and
from
only
the jaws of
hyper-focus on the
victory.
likes
They're
of
that
Bernie
close
Sanders.
to victory,
Just
and they
as I do
snatch
not
it away, and
spend
they
an insane amount of time like yelling about
and they
fucking
lose.
what Twitter leftists are saying, I'm not going to spend a whole ordeal hyper focusing on
I was in a
some of the people
I was in a-
closest to my worldview that are active in American Congress. Okay, that's
I don't know
it.
if they're showing
That's
again
my calculation. You might
when she
disagree
came
with
out.
that, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. But
Senate
I
Republican
don't
control,
think
House
that is
Republican
productive.
control.
I want
They have
others
no
in
excuse
Congress
now. They have
to come
zero
closer
excuse
to
now
Bernie's position,
to
come closer to AOC's position. You might disagree with
get
that,
things
and
done.
That's perfectly fine. You know.
In case
That's
you
your
guys
opinion.
don't know,
My
this
opinion is mine.
Congress, this
But I am
Republican
always
Congress
going to
was the
focus
least
on
productive
real
one in
fucking
history.
demons.
They didn't even
Okay?
write up any bills. They didn't even try.
Because
They
the
were just
reality
there
of the
to
matter
stop,
is,
focus
while
100%
there
on stopping anything
a
that
tremendous
Biden was trying to
number of
pass.
failures that
Kinda what they did the same
progressive wing
thing
of the
to
Democratic Party has contributed
Obama.
to. Okay.
And
It's
now that
still-
they have control,
I mean,
there's nothing they can't pass in these 4
it's not
years. So
even
you know they're
close
going to
to,
work
like,
twice
what
as
the
fast as they would have because Trump
what the
is
establishment
only
Democrats
there for one term.
are championing.
But Project 2025, are the mass deportations going to start in day one?
As I've stated before,
Are we going to say bye to people we
if
know come January?
75% of the
What's gonna
Democratic caucus had AOC's position on Israel, this would not even be a question. This wouldn't even be a problem. They would have already passed the bill to stop weapon shipments, like with resounding success. Or they would have gotten Biden. They would have been able to pressure Biden into stopping this. So
Yeah, I don't do live stream. I've been wanting
I
to
don't
live
want
stream
that
with
for
him
Gabi. It's still a
because
reality.
Hasan
The progressive
Piker,
movement chose to stay silent and not heard the chances of Biden getting reelected.
Hasan
with
Piker
benefit of
knows what he's
hindsight. I
talking
think it
about.
probably did the opposite and
He's a
alienated the base. If it was an
progressive
actual primary,
liberal
it probably
type,
would
but
have been
not
much
the
better.
liberal that how
Yeah.
you think or how they're portrayed in the media. But because he
Nice
calls it
much
like it is
emphasis, buddy.
on
You
both
think you're
sides,
slick,
and
signifying you're
he
not being
gets
open about your right-wing
listeners
grift
from
from here
both
on out.
sides.
It's gross, but the only way it can
And,
be stopped is subscribing at the top
Since
of the
I'm
hour.
working
No
from
ad break.
home,
You
I
lost
take the
Kamala's
time in my
election.
lunch to stream
Sorry, I'm a bit early.
Kamala's speech,
Had to
but
get
I would
you.
be doing
That's
this a lot
right.
more if I didn't have a
My
full-time
right-wing
job.
grift is complete.
So I could
I'm
live
moving
react
into
to
the
him
right-wing
or
slant
to
here.
other prominent
But yes, you can support my
prominent
right-wing
streamers.
grift by subscribing and help me maintain my
But
editorial independence.
I'm gonna have to depart now.
with
I've
subscribers
been
such
here
as
long
yours.
enough, but thank you for your subscription. Appreciate it. To the chatter.
Michael J. Stern. Hexa B2, thank you for the 10 gifted. CNN has a story titled Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong. Nope, I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled Where the American People Went Wrong.
Yeah, both. There could be two things true there.
Yeah.
The American
we should
people
blame
and
voters over and over again. I think that is going to be a successful strategy next time.
No, it's not going to be a successful strategy, but
losing with some typically means winning with others and vice versa. Losing big with everyone across the board is nearly unprecedented and hard to conceive as even possible.
Yeah, they lost in everything. The people that I know
Kamala
that
Harris
at one
lost
time would have never voted for
every constituency.
Trump, at least not in 2016. They voted for him because they,
with
for
every constituency.
silly reasons,
Red wave is an
walls put
understatement.
tampons in, wanted to put tampons in the restroom, even though I think that's been
Except
debunked.
for plus 65-year-olds.
But people make decisions
white
off
college women
sound bites, of headlines. They make
with a
decisions
slight
of
gain.
what their algorithm is going
Now,
to show them. Is if they start
you
liking
need to
something
understand.
that's, hey, this makes sense. Keep
Wait, have you already addressed the
transgenders
20
off,
million less voters? It genuinely
you know,
confuses
women's
me where people
sports.
just not motivated
Keep
to vote.
men off
Why
women's
is
sports.
That
And
confusing? There were two
little
major
did they know
reasons
they
for why this
liked
happened, and I
a
told you it was
page
gonna
that's
be,
extremely
depressed
right
voter
wing. So
turnout,
even though that reel
regardless,
makes sense and you
because,
agree with it, then
2020
you start seeing
was unique because
more
of COVID.
reels from that right
You
wing
had
page,
universal ballot,
and they start telling you
you had
about
universal early
immigrants
voting,
and
mail-in
how
ballots.
they're causing havoc
It
in
was
the
much
country. They
easier
start
to
telling
vote.
you
That's why
how
Donald Trump
they're
made
trying to
tremendous
teach
gains on his side, even though
gay
he lost
sex
because Joe
to
Biden
your
had
kids
even
in
bigger
school,
gains,
which is not
right?
true. Not here in California.
But beyond that,
You can't
beyond that,
teach
there was always gonna be less people
sexual
voting
education
overall.
in
But one of the
elementary.
major problems with the
Now
Kamala
they'll
Harris campaign
say,
is that
well, there was a
she is
book
slated
that
to
mentioned
lose
that they
10
have
to
2
15
moms
million
or 2
voters
dads.
overall, whereas Donald
And
Trump
yeah,
only
I can
lost
understand
around
why you
3
don't
million voters
like that, but that's not
from
sexualizing
his number,
the kids. They're not going to
in
think, hey, wait a
2020.
minute. If that person in the story, if this little mouse has 2 moms,
Count isn't over
then
yet. Justin Cali,
maybe I
there's
should be
7
lesbian.
million votes.
No, it doesn't work that
I'm
way.
going to tell you
That's
right
why
now,
the parent.
you don't want to look at those numbers.
Your kids are going to learn all the worst things they're going to learn in their life in school. In elementary, I learned about sex.
You are probably going
not
to be
from school, from the kids.
At what comes out of California. Not saying that, like, Kamala Harris is going to lose California or some shit, but simply stating that there are around 5 to 6 million, I believe, Republican voters in the state of California. This number is so large that
Oh yeah, she lost like 5% of the vote from
than
Biden and
the
Hillary
number of
in
Republican
California.
voters in like 3 red states combined. Okay.
It is concession speech. I just think of it like
So,
concession stands.
Obviously,
and I was like, am I
it's
saying that right?
impossible to make
Concession
up for
speech?
5 million extra votes. 5 million extra votes that the Democrats had over the Republicans in the state of California in 2020. Having said that, however, the numbers and Trump's popularity in California will shock you. Yeah. Biden won California by 30% in 2020. Harris is leading by 17% currently, with 58% reported.
That's more to do with Democrats didn't vote in California as opposed to California turning red. Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's another aspect of this. But what's really important is what people are not looking at. Okay, what people are looking at and what people are not looking at is very frustrating. On MSNBC, Joe Scarborough is blaming Trump's win on progressives for using pronouns. And now he's blaming anti-genocide protests on college campuses. And now Chris Matthews is saying that Democrats lost because they let in millions of migrants into the country. This rhetoric is indistinguishable from Fox News. Matthews is now saying America would only elect a woman who is more hawkish on war, as opposed to Harris, who said she wanted the most lethal military. Louise Jordan on it. But, I mean, I guess he's right, by the way. Chris Matthews is right on that, just so you know. It's just that it wouldn't be a Democrat. America is more likely to elect a woman president.
So at 2, I'm going to sign out. It's 4 minutes till. Not sure how long this string has been going.
On war, like
does
Nikki
it show
Haley,
me? Let me see. Does it show me how long this string has been going?
Would have fucking wiped the table.
What do you mean Nikki Haley would have wiped the table?
Louise Jordan on MSNBC, the progressive era has to end if the Democrats want to win again. Tim Nichols of The Atlantic on MSNBC, you're going to see America AWOL as the leader of the free world.
Yes, focus less. Focus less on pronouns. Focus less on transgenders. Focus
Anyway,
less on
in the upcoming days, I will have
favoring
more guests on the
sexual
broadcast
change surgeries.
from many different
know,
backgrounds.
You could give equality to all, but you can't focus that and make it seem like
I
it's
already
more
have a
important
bunch of
than
journalists reaching out.
everyone else is not.
wanting
You're
quotes
giving
about
more
a litany of
credit
different
and
things
more
that I,
attention to the less than
called out.
1% than the rest
And
of the
you'll start
population.
seeing
Like, if
those,
you see
like,
the
gave an
concern, if
interview
you
to
see
Wired,
that in a
Wired
blue
this
state like
morning.
California, there's protests in
Sure that'll be
schools
coming
about
out
this stuff,
soon.
that should be alarming. That should
And,
tell you something.
Uh,
But it didn't, because Democrats find a way to
and I
lose,
will,
to drop the
I will
ball.
have
I
some
mean,
guests
they had been
on
winning.
to
There was never
analyze
that
what
red
took
wave
place.
in 2022
Are you free
2022 or
today?
2018. They've just been, they haven't
but
been winning, you know. And there's always a seismic
Become the
change
next
and shift,
13 Keys guy? No, I'm not a fucking quack. That's
especially
the problem.
when one side has had
Democrats and
control
independents
for
asked
one
if they are
term.
more or less likely to
There's-
vote for Harris if she
there's
pledges
always
to
a
withhold
reason
more
to
weapons
run
Israel.
on change.
Pennsylvania,
There's always
34% more likely, 7% less.
change is
Georgia,
always the
39% more
more
likely versus 5% less likely.
positive
Arizona,
outlook,
35%
the
more
more
likely
hope
versus 5% less
that
likely.
it sounds.
And yeah, when I say I'm going to have
And
interviews,
That's why
with
in
people,
2
I'm
years
gonna
there
conduct
might be
interviews
a
with
big
people.
change,
I also mean
and
people who
Democrats
are
might
Trump
take over
supporters,
either
including
the
but not
House
limited
or
to Bradley Martin,
the
maybe
Senate
even
in 2
Faze
years,
Banks
depending on
once again.
how many seats are left to
We
take
will
over.
also have conversations with American
Oh, the stream.
politicians
I
that
see
are
how
on the
long the
progressive
stream is.
side
It's
of the
been an hour.
Democratic Party
Okay.
and
Hour and
the
16.
frustrations that they have and what the next steps are in order to make the Democratic Party a competent fighter against Republican fascism. Okay?
And that's the thing
Drifting
I
starts,
found
huh?
I found
Yeah.
interesting in
I'm gonna-
2020.
Yeah, I'm going to have Bradley Martin on to agree
The
with him
Democratic
on
Party had like the
everything.
young
I'm just
vote,
gonna-
they had the Gen Z vote,
I'm just going to fucking
and
advocate
this time
for
it was
things
like
that I'm diametrically opposed
it was
to all of a
lost.
sudden
it was lost. It's
out of nowhere.
it's hard to combat misinformation
yeah.
because misinformation
We will
is easier to
talk
spread.
about
It's easier to believe.
the many different damaging
And it
policies
takes,
that the Republican Party has presented throughout this campaign,
How do you
and
say?
also
You have to be
a
a
well-oiled
well-oiled propaganda
for
machine to be able to convince people
Hassan bringing Republicans
that
to the
their
table,
grievances
yeah, I mean,
are due because of this and because of that, and they don't bother to look in the source. Like, oh, there's a lot of illegals coming in,
but
and maybe a lot has to do with that. There's no other there's no
For
other
now,
access to
let's look at what
get
the
into this
fucking
country,
Democratic Party
and
is
you're
saying.
forcing that
The
to
mandate
happen. As
has
an
won the national
example,
popular
so
vote for the first time for a Republican for the first time since 2004.
taking down a panel of woke CNN hosts.
This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans. Fix immigration. Try to get crime under control. Try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that.
crime has gone
interpreting
down.
The results tonight
Crime was higher during Trump,
as the
but you
revenge
won't know
of
that
just
because that's not what the media
regular old
shows.
working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to.
Oh, yawn.
I don't know who that chatter is. Workout people, like work out,
Look,
like go to the gym.
the
work
regular
out.
old American that has been
In your room.
insulted
It's not my
and
room, it's
condescended to.
the living
There
room.
is some.
I usually have a
truth to
green
that.
screen
He's the worst
that I didn't bother to
person
put up.
say it.
Thank you.
The truth of that still comes from the fact that the top line messaging to regular working class Americans is that, like, stick around, things are fine. Okay. Oh, here, incredible moment of
How much success Donald Trump had with
Mike
overall
Barbaro trying to give him an off ramp from calling something racist and me being like, no, I actually mean racist.
identity of voting blocks.
All right,
That,
well,
as Lisa, you just pointed out,
Thanks for
Democrats had
tuning
long
in.
believed
For those of you that tuned in,
I know, man.
I'm gonna
Friends
go
of
to
the
the
show
gym
are
now.
popping off.
we're going to
No,
remain
I
loyal to.
I work full time, and I'm a full time
but
dad as well.
why?
Thank you very much.
But why?
Why?
Anywho,
Why did they believe that?
Yeah, it's interesting to see
That
where
evidence
the
has been
Democratic
clear
Party will
about the
go from
drop
here.
off for a long time, right? Like
they've
we've
tried
had
to
2012, we've had
snatch some of
2016,
the
we've had 2020.
moderate
Like we've
Republicans
actually
that
had
didn't
a
seem to
lot
work.
of evidence to
They
say that
need
the
to focus
demographic
less on
destiny
far
undertone
left
is one that is
and
a
focus
faulty
more on
premise.
just
The fact that they are holding
left
on
that
to the
comes
Obama
down
era,
to
in my
more,
opinion, is a racist assumption.
that common sense thing.
100%. The
And
idea
get a
that, like,
don't get an old
the
don't get an old
demographics-
dinosaur next
demographics'
time.
destiny is the
Not that I'm
age-old
against
adage
a
that,
good
like,
female
both
candidate,
parties have
but
deluded
don't get a
themselves
female
into
candidate
believing.
next time.
Republicans believe it
Trump-
offensively.
Both
Right?
Hillary
Where
and
they say, oh, you want
Kamala
Mexicans
were
to
weak
go and
candidates
live in swing states,
the-
so they fucking vote Democrat, right?
in the big
And you
picture.
have that exact same
And
principle on the Democratic Party
Trump
side,
beat them
where it's
both,
like,
so he's
come
had
on,
it easy both
Latinos, vote for
times
us.
that
The
he's
fuck?
won.
The other side
The
is
one time he
racist.
went against
And they're
another
still running that route,
alpha male,
not realizing
he
that
lost.
like a lot of the Hispanic
So,
population in the United States of America
It'll
see
be interesting to see where the
themselves
Democratic
as
Party
white.
goes from here. But like I said,
Okay?
thanks everyone for
They are
tuning in.
firmly within
Barcelona
the
won
white
5-2.
category.
Let's
They might
go.
not look white,
Right,
but
till
they
next
vote
time.
white.
Keep up
okay?
the good
in
fight.
increasingly
and peace
larger
out.
numbers.